Power isn't loud. It's the person who doesn't need to prove anything. Ever walk into a room and feel someone's presence before they even speak? They didn't raise their voice, didn't demand attention, but still, everyone noticed. That's not charisma. That's quiet power. The Stoics knew this. They didn't chase the spotlight. They carried stillness like a weapon. They entered, and the room adjusted. Today, you'll learn how to do the same. To walk in, not loud, but undeniable. No noise, no ego, just inner dominance. Marcus Aurelius walked quietly and ruled an empire. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth. But he didn't dominate through noise. He dominated through presence. In a world of scheming senators, shifting loyalties, and constant political storms, he remained calm, measured, unmoved. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He didn't perform for attention. He simply entered the room, and the atmosphere adjusted. That's what real power does. It doesn't beg. It doesn't explain. It holds. Marcus once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He survived plague, betrayal, rebellion, yet never lost his center. He didn't just lead armies, he governed chaos with stillness. That's the Stoic code. Power isn't projected, it's contained, and the more still it is, the heavier it becomes. This video isn't about social tricks or fake confidence. It's about becoming untouchable from within. Not because you're loud, but because you no longer need to be. You'll learn 6 Stoic strategies to own any space without raising your voice. No performance, no pretending, just unshakable presence. Let's break them down. 1. Energetic stillness. The calm that makes people nervous. You ever notice? Some people walk into a room and don't do anything flashy, but the entire space seems to shift. They don't rush. They don't talk over people. They're not even trying to impress. But somehow, everyone feels them. There's a subtle tension in the air, like something just changed. Not in a loud way, but in a way you can't ignore. That's not luck. That's not aura. That's what I call energetic stillness. And it's a power move in the social battlefield. Let me tell you a story. I once met a retired Navy SEAL in a private leadership circle. Big guy, scar across his face. But here's the thing. He didn't speak for the first 10 minutes, didn't interrupt, didn't posture, just watched, listened, still as stone. But when he finally spoke, the whole room leaned in. Even the loudest guys went quiet. Why? Because his stillness wasn't passive. It was deliberate. Every second he waited built weight. And that weight, it created presence. Now that is dominance. The Stoics understood this long before boardrooms and war rooms existed. Marcus Aurelius. He governed an empire facing plagues, mutiny, betrayal. But he never needed to raise his voice. His power came from what he withheld, not what he projected. "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break," he wrote, "but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." He didn't fight chaos. He absorbed it and stayed still. So how do you build that kind of presence? First, master your breath. When you control your breath, you control your nervous system. And when your nervous system is calm, your energy is grounded. That calm becomes contagious or intimidating, depending on who's watching. Second, eliminate unnecessary movement. Most people leak power through motion. They fidget, twitch, shift their weight, adjust their sleeves because they're uncomfortable. They don't even know they're doing it. But people notice. Train yourself to be still, especially when others are trying to make you react. Third, own your physical space. Whether you're standing or sitting, your body should say one thing: I'm not going anywhere. No shrinking, no curling up, no looking small. Even in silence, you broadcast certainty. And here's what's wild. The less you do, the more people start filling in the blanks. They project confidence onto you. They assume strength. They wonder what you're thinking, because you've given them nothing but stillness. That's power most people never tap into. So next time you walk into a room, don't force your presence. Just hold your ground, breathe, and let the room do the adjusting. 2. The gaze, eye contact that dominates without words. There's a type of gaze that doesn't shout, but it controls the room. It's not aggressive, not wide-eyed or forced, just steady, calm, grounded. It doesn't shift nervously. It doesn't blink too often. It simply holds, like it already knows how this ends, and doesn't need to explain. That is the Stoic gaze, and it's one of the most silent forms of power a man can master. Think about this. In nature, predators don't flinch. They lock in. Their stillness isn't passive. It's a signal. They're not waiting for permission. They're deciding the outcome. But prey scans the environment, avoids direct stares. It reacts to everything. Humans are no different. When someone avoids eye contact, you feel it. It communicates uncertainty, even fear. But when someone meets your eyes calmly, holds that gaze, you start to feel seen, exposed, and sometimes unsettled. I remember watching a corporate negotiation, 2 CEOs, one fast-talking, charming, animated, the other dead silent, barely moved, just listened and stared, never looked away, never blinked too much, never fidgeted, just held the space. By the end of the meeting, the fast talker had talked himself into a weaker deal, not because the other man said more, but because he made him uncomfortable by saying nothing at all. That's the power of a well-held gaze. It forces people inward. It makes them reflect. It breaks rhythm and creates control. So how do you build it? First, anchor your eyes. Pick a spot, a person, a moment, and hold. Don't scan the room. Don't look away unless you choose to. Let your eyes speak the message. I'm here, fully, unshaken. Second, soften your face. No squinting, no flexing. Relaxed facial muscles make your gaze feel composed, not confrontational. Third, pair your gaze with silence. There's a pressure in silence that words can't match, especially when someone expects you to react, and you don't. This isn't about winning a staring contest. It's about owning the moment without needing to explain yourself. A Stoic gaze doesn't scream, "I'm powerful." It whispers, "I see everything, and nothing moves me." So next time someone's watching you, don't flinch, don't look away. Let your eyes say what your ego never needs to, because sometimes the most commanding thing you can do is simply hold the gaze. 3. Minimal speech, maximum impact. The fewer the words, the heavier they land. Here's something most people don't realize. The more you talk, the more chances you give people to read you, question you, or ignore you. But the Stoic, he doesn't speak to fill silence. He speaks to shape it. Because in a world addicted to noise, restraint becomes power. There's an old saying in the special forces world: slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The same applies to speech. Few is sharp, sharp is loud. Think about the people who've left the biggest impression on you. Were they the ones who talked non-stop, or the ones who spoke so little that when they did, you remembered every word? Marcus Aurelius wasn't known for debates or fiery speeches. His journal, Meditations, reads like a collection of sharp internal reminders. Short, precise, weighty. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That's a man who thought before he spoke, and spoke only when needed. The key is this: every time you speak, you spend energy. Every extra word, a drop from your reservoir. So when your words are few, people lean in. They pay more attention because they don't get much. And when you finally speak, your tone, your timing, your silence before and after, do the heavy lifting. Here's how to apply it. Before you speak, ask, does this add power or drain it? Cut the filler. No like, you know. Speak with clarity, not clutter. Embrace silence. Don't rush to respond. Let your pauses carry weight. When you speak, land your words. Don't throw them. Place them intentionally. People trust quiet confidence and fear what they can't predict. So the next time you feel the urge to explain, justify, or prove, don't. Let your stillness say what your words don't need to. And when you finally speak, make every syllable count. Command the physical frame. You don't need permission to take up space. Before you ever open your mouth, before you say a single word, your body has already spoken for you. The way you walk, the way you stand, the way you occupy space. It all sends a message. And whether you know it or not, people are reading it. Now here's what most people get wrong. They shrink themselves, not just physically but energetically. They fold their arms, they cross their legs, they hunch. They speak as if they're asking for permission to exist in the room. But a Stoic, he does the opposite. He doesn't dominate space with arrogance. He grounds himself in it with quiet certainty. I once observed a CEO walking into a boardroom for a hostile negotiation. He didn't rush, he didn't swagger, he simply walked with intention, sat down slowly, took a deep breath, placed his hands calmly on the table, and waited. He didn't say a word. But everyone in the room adjusted. Why? Because his physical frame told the truth. I'm not here to react, I'm here to decide. Here's what the Stoics knew. Your posture affects your psychology. Your psychology affects your presence. And your presence changes the environment. So if your shoulders are slumped, your spine is curved, and your head is always tilted downward, you're broadcasting insecurity before you even speak. But if you straighten your spine, relax your shoulders, and move slowly with purpose, you tell the world, I'm not in a rush, I'm not afraid, I'm here to stay. Here's how to own your frame. Walk like each step matters. No rushing, no shuffling. You set the pace, let others adjust. Take up space without apology. Use your hands, expand your gestures. Lean back slightly. Breathe deep. You're not invading, you're occupying what's already yours. Stay rooted. When standing, feel your feet connect with the ground. When sitting, anchor your posture. Don't collapse into the chair. The truth is, most people unconsciously ask for permission to exist, but the Stoic never asks. He shows up and makes space his own, not by force, not by ego, but by presence, by grounding. So next time you enter a room, don't just walk in, own the floor, not by being loud, but by being so still, so anchored, so composed, that the room has no choice but to notice. Five. Delayed response. Pause is the weapon of the powerful. There's a moment, right after someone pushes you, insults you, tests you, when your reaction becomes your reveal. Most people don't realize it, but the speed of your response often gives away your place in the power hierarchy. The quicker you react, the more emotional you look, the more eager you sound, and the more power you hand over. But the person who pauses, who listens, breathes, processes before speaking, that person makes the room nervous, because silence when it's deliberate, creates uncertainty, and uncertainty creates control. Marcus Aurelius knew this well. In tense debates, when senators shouted, accused, manipulated, he would sit in stillness. Sometimes for seconds, sometimes for long minutes, sometimes he said nothing at all, not because he was passive, but because he understood. The pause is pressure. Let me give you something real. I once watched a startup founder meet with a high-profile investor. The investor made a laughably low offer, arrogant, calculated, expecting pushback. But the founder didn't flinch. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, no twitch, no eye roll, no rebuttal, just stillness. And then, quietly, he said, "That's not the kind of partnership I'm looking for." That one sentence, after that long pause, flipped the room. It wasn't what he said. It was the silence that made it impossible to ignore. Now contrast that with someone I once saw at a leadership retreat, a sharp woman with strong ideas, but no pause. Any question, any challenge, she jumped in. Quick-fire defenses, explanations, reactions. By the end of the session, no one remembered her ideas. They remembered her anxiety. She didn't lose because she was wrong. She lost because she was too quick to prove. Here's the Stoic truth. Every second you delay, you remind the world, I'm not reacting. I'm choosing. I move when I decide, not when I'm pushed. So next time someone throws a jab, pause. When they try to provoke you, breathe. When they demand a response, let the silence speak first. Because silence builds pressure, and pressure shifts power. That's not weakness, that's psychological sovereignty. Stillness before speech is the weapon they never expect, and exactly why it works. 6. Energetic gravity, the aura that pulls without trying. Some people walk into a room and others feel the need to adjust. Sit up straighter, speak more carefully, choose their words like they matter, not because the person is loud or famous or intimidating, but because of something quieter, something felt, not seen. That's energetic gravity, and it's one of the most mysterious and powerful forms of social control. Unlike charisma, gravity doesn't push outward, it pulls inward. It doesn't seek attention, it attracts it. You don't earn it by being clever, you earn it by being composed, by being so anchored in yourself that other people feel less certain in theirs, and that forces them to calibrate to you. Stoics understood this long before psychology gave it a name. Marcus Aurelius didn't charm his enemies. He didn't manipulate, he didn't flatter, he radiated stability. Even those who hated him couldn't deny his presence, because he carried something they couldn't imitate, complete inner clarity. So what creates energetic gravity? It's not about muscles or posture, though those help. It's about what you've trained yourself not to need. You don't need to be liked. You don't need to be understood. You don't need to react to be real. You've cut those strings. And now, instead of chasing attention, you let it come to you. Practical ways to build it. Start your day in stillness. Before the world touches you, anchor your mind. 5 minutes of silence, eyes closed, breathing deep, just being. It sounds simple, but it rewires how you show up. When you speak, speak less. When you listen, listen fully. Let people feel that your attention is expensive, and when you walk into any space, carry one thought. I am the calmest presence in this room. That belief shifts how you breathe, how you move, how people perceive you. Because here's the truth, most people are running on borrowed energy. They mirror others, they chase comfort, they lose themselves trying to belong. But the man with energetic gravity, he stands still, he says little. He makes people feel like they need to earn his focus, not the other way around. That's not performance. That's unshakable identity. And once you embody that, you never have to prove presence again. You become the presence. Be the presence that doesn't flinch. Most people think power comes from what you say, how loud you speak, how quickly you respond, how confidently you perform. But the Stoic knows different. The most powerful man in the room isn't the one performing. It's the one who doesn't flinch. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't argue for respect. He doesn't force his presence. He is presence. Let's recap what makes that presence undeniable. Energetic stillness, the calm that makes others uneasy. The gaze, eye contact that holds space like a blade. Minimal speech, say less, mean more. Command the frame, own your body, own the room. Delayed response, move at your pace, not theirs. Energetic gravity, pull the room without trying. These aren't social tricks. They're not about dominance through volume. They're about internal gravity, the kind of energy that bends a room without raising your voice. And one day, you'll walk into a room and someone will test your silence. They'll provoke, they'll poke, they'll wait for you to break, but you won't, because you've trained for this moment. And when the room gets loud, you stay still. That's the power they can't imitate. So here's your challenge. Next time you walk into a room, don't rush, don't explain, don't shrink. Just breathe, anchor, and let the room adjust to you. And if you're ready to go deeper into the art of commanding attention without ever chasing it, watch this next. How to control a room without saying a word, the Stoic presence strategy. Because real power doesn't perform. It walks in, says nothing, and stays unmoved.